These are the watches worn at Wimbledon. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Up there with the Masters, Wimbledon is one of my favorite sporting events. I love the tradition, the elegance of the outfits, and the watches worn are usually masterclass. And so in this video, we're taking a look at some of the best watches worn at this year's Grand Slam, from the players to celebrities in the stands. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Like, seriously, real quick, just tap that like button. It really helps out the channel. Starting off with David Beckham, who's always dressed to the nines. He had on his wrist this watch by Tudor. Called the Pelagos FXD, this 42mm piece is made out of titanium, paired with a NATO strap, and a small detail I love is the red stripe. I feel complements the red text on the dial so well. You can pick one of these up at retail for $4,150. Even Tom Cruise was in the stands and wore this stunning Rolex Day-Date, made out of white gold with a fluted bezel, meteorite dial, and baguette diamond hour markers that sell on the market for around $65,000. Patrick Mahomes rocked this insane ever rose gold Rolex Daytona that features diamonds on the lugs and baguette cut rainbow sapphires around the bezel, including sapphire hour markers. An absolutely stunning looking piece that'll set you back around $400,000. Andrei Rublev had on his wrist this Bulgari Octafinissimo skeleton, made out of black ceramic with an in-house mechanical movement that's only 2.35 millimeters in thickness. I think this is one of the best watches you can get on the market in this price range that sell for around $22,000. It's always good to see Roger Federer in the stands, and on his wrist was a very fitting piece. This two-tone Rolex Datejust with a Wimbledon dial, paired with an oyster bracelet and smooth bezel, which honestly I feel is one of the ugliest configurations for this Datejust. In my opinion, I think it looks way better in only stainless steel, but in the configuration that he wore, you can pick one up for about 16 grand. Legendary football manager Pep Guardiola was there with his daughter Maria, who wore a stunning watch by Cartier. This Ballon Bleu made out of white gold that's covered in diamonds with a dial designed to look like the spots of a panther. This is my first time seeing it on someone's wrist and now has become one of my favorite ladies' watches. I feel it looks so unique and eye-catching, and retails for $85,000. For the second straight year now, Djokovic has lost to Carlos Alcaraz in the final, but on his wrist you could see him wearing this watch by Hublot. This is the Big Bang. It's made out of green ceramic and comes in a size of 42mm, with a retail price of $24,000. I think it's time to get Djokovic a new partnership. He's got the most Grand Slams of all time. Federer is an ambassador to Rolex, Rafa is an ambassador to Richard Mille, and I guess Djokovic got the short end of the stick and got stuck with Hublot. I mean, at least get him maybe Omega. Awful. Carlos Alcaraz took home his 4th Grand Slam and had on his wrist this very eye-catching Rolex Daytona, made out of yellow gold, features a meteorite dial, and is paired with an oyster flex strap that sell on the market for around $85,000. Even 007 himself was there, wearing a super classy looking piece, of course. Pierce Brosnan had on this Gerard Perregaux vintage 1945, reference number 2585, that's in rose gold, and sells on the market for around 6 grand. Medvedev had on this insane piece by Beauvais called the Authenticé Tourbillon that's made out of titanium, and features 4 sapphire surfaces on the front, back, and sides of the watch, allowing you to see almost every part of its movement. This Beauvais retails for $292,000. Indian cricketer Rohit Sharma had on his wrist this Patek Philippe reference 5172G, made out of white gold with a salmon colored dial and a stunning open case back that sells on the market for around 70 grand. Actor Tom Felton was there, or if you're a 90s kid like me, you might know him as Malfoy. Well, he had on his wrist this Omega Seamaster 300 that's the 007 edition and is made out of titanium that you can find on the market for around 8 grand. I'm hoping Barbara Krejcikova gets a better brand partnership after her first Grand Slam win, because I think this watch by Rado looked terrible on her wrist. It just looked way too big and out of place. I think it was a men's watch also. At a size of 40 millimeters, this is the Rado Diamaster Thin Line Automatic. And if you say you like this watch, I will roast you, because for $2,000, this is god awful, in my opinion. Especially compared to the watch that Donna Vekic wore. She had on her wrist this FP Journe Elegant that's made out of titanium and features 2 rows of diamonds on its case. Though it's a quartz movement, a very cool feature about it is after 35 minutes of being motionless, the watch goes into standby mode, while the gears, rotors, and hands stop moving. But once the watch begins to move again, the hands will automatically set themselves to the current time. Not your typical quartz movement, and that's why they sell for around $40,000. Rapper Stormzy and Central C were both wearing some pretty cool pieces. Stormzy rocked this Patek Philippe Nautilus, that's the travel time version, is made out of stainless steel and sells for around $110,000. While Central C wore a watch that's a fraction of the price. He had on this G-Shock. That's the 6900 series that retails for only $72. Andrew Garfield wore a pretty classy looking piece. He had on his wrist this Omega DeVille Tresser made out of a polished rose gold casing that features a power reserve display at 12 o'clock and a small seconds display at 6 o'clock. With a stunning open case back, retail on this Omega is $20,000. So Margot Robbie was there with her husband, and I did notice on his wrist was a pretty sweet looking piece, but one issue, I couldn't quite figure out what it was, because since I didn't know, I asked my followers on Instagram, and thankfully they gave me the answer. Also, if you're not yet following me, it's linked below in the description. Head on over there, hit the follow button. I'd love to have you over there as well. And the answer I got to the mystery watch he wore was this. A vintage Vacheron Constantin Jumping Hour Retrograde in rose gold that sell on the market for around $20,000. And David Beckham's son Romeo was there and had on his wrist this lefty Rolex GMT Master 2 that's paired with a Jubilee bracelet and is nicknamed the Sprite because of its black and green ceramic bezel that sell on the market for around $19,000. Out of these, I'm either taking the Beauvais or Alcaraz's Daytona. But let me know in the comments, out of all of these watches, if you had your choice, what would you choose? Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.